Hello! Welcome to some more Flight Sim World, and just for a change, I thought I would fly the Cherokee. I like the Cherokee, it's a nice little aircraft. But I have changed location. We are flying in Alaska. And we're having all kinds of fun. Well, I am, I don't know about you. Having all kinds of fun flying in Alaska. I took off, went the wrong direction, nearly plowed myself into a glacier trying to get over the top of a mountain, and now I am headed out over this rather pretty looking lake. I have to say, actually, the textures are really nice until you get close up. I think there's a problem with the bit mapping, because when you get close into the textures they get kind of blurry, but from here they look really nice. And then if you look carefully, yeah, you can see it right there. There's a little bit of tearing in between the plates. A little bit, not tearing, but you know where the textures are kind of broken a little bit. I think that's shadowing, but that's something they're working on. They are definitely going to be fixing that in the next, I can't say the next update, but in forthcoming updates. Actually, I know that the entire lighting for the scenery is getting an overhaul. I am actually doing this because I wanted to test out some changes I made. In the discussions on Steam, if you look there, at the top they have the specs for the computer that they use to do their image grabbing, their publicity shots and recordings and stuff. And if you scroll down at the bottom, you can see the settings they have for their Nvidia card. So if you have an Nvidia card, I strongly suggest you hop over there and take a look. But don't apply those settings to your computer, because the settings that are displayed are the desktop standard settings, the default settings. They're not for a profile. So what I suggest you do is set yourself up a profile for for FSW and apply it to a profile rather than your desktop computer. Otherwise, you could find strange things going on. But it's a nice day. I'm flying over Alaska. Oh, yeah. Apparently I'm too loud for the dog. She's just left the room, which is fine. Flying over southern Alaska? Southern Central Alaska, as a matter of fact. If you know where from this view, let me know. I'll either mention your name or figure out some way of sending you a gift or something. I don't know. But if you can figure out where this is, I'll be mightily impressed. I've got the weather settings to, I think it's cold front, which actually has been quite challenging. There's quite a bit of air buffeting going on in certain areas. But I wanted to play with the settings. Actually, that's the only settings I've played with, is the Nvidia settings. Everything else is stock, except for Bloom. I've got Bloom turned off in the config file. I rebalanced the sound a little bit, because I noticed in the previous video the engine was very much not a thing. So I'm still playing with those. If you listen carefully, you can hear the rain bouncing off the windshield. Off the plane in general, to be honest. It's quite a nice effect. I quite like it. I do have the rain effect turned off on the windshield, because apparently it kills your frame rate. I haven't tested that, but enough people have said it. But then again, lots of people say that the world is flat, and I know let's not go there. Okay. Something I noticed while I was watching the live stream the other day, and I wanted to check out, was the come on, trim. Thank you. were the dials, the instrument panel. In previous versions of flight simulators, whom I'm not going to mention any names, because there's no point, I found I always had to turn the detail of the instruments down. But in this, they're actually on high quality, and I am not seeing too much damage to my frame rate. I mean, this sucker's running at 60. Well, it would be, to be quite honest. It's not like I've got a great deal of auto-gen going on. But, yeah, in past simulators, I found that the rendering of the instruments was quite hardy on the quite hard on the old frame rate. But now it doesn't seem to affect it at all, which is quite nice. The other thing I've done, obviously, I've offloaded the recording onto an SSD. It's a 60 gig, so I should be able to get a couple of hours worth of recording on there. I also adjusted the record quality on OBS, so it's now generating a medium-sized file, and the CPU usage on it is like 3%, so that's helping. But yeah, I mean, my computer's still running in balanced mode. You know, the GPU is the CPU is still locked at 4 gigahertz, and it's running very, very beautifully. Actually, I have a frame lock on too. This thing should be running at a max of 60 frames per second, which it is. But I love the detail in here. You know, one thing I didn't notice? I had a look earlier while I was flying. Anyone know where the thermometer is in this cockpit? I don't know what the ambient temperature is outside. I had a look around all over the damn cockpit for it, and I can't find it. Oh, that's a speaker. Yeah, I can't find it. It would be nice to know. I've got the pitted heat on, so there must be a thermometer in here somewhere. Well, yeah, I know the pitted heat is for the airspeed indicator, but and you'll notice I do have my landing lights on since I'm flying under 5,000 feet. Is it 5 or 10? No, it's 5. But yeah, I'm just having fun flying around, testing out the scenery, testing out the basically the smoothness of this thing. This is just gorgeous. It's so nice to have a flight simulator that is taxing my graphics card more than my processor, which is as it should be. Ain't it? Is that my shadow? That's my shadow. Cool. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, with today's hardware, that's a lovely view. There's no reason why graphics cards can't handle so much more from these flight simulators. I mean, we're on, what are we on? We're on DirectX 12, I think, is the very latest one. Or is it like 11.5? I can never remember. I think I'm going to go this way. Apply some rudder. Keep an eye on my altitude and airspeed. Apply some more rudder. And we are just going to roll out there. Not bad. I've done worse. as you can see, you know, as you get closer to the ground, the nipping just gets pretty bad. But slightly further away and it all clears up and just looks really nice. So yeah, I've just been kind of flying around in this thing for the last 20 minutes or so, and everything is just looking really nice and performing really nice. I'm really impressed. I'm really liking this new render engine that they're using. Whoops, wrong button. This render engine that they're using for the aircraft. And it's not using that much memory either. I've been noting how much memory is in use, and it's not a great deal. I do like this scenery. You know what though? I actually have no clue where I am now. Oh dear. I'm just enjoying... You know what? That's what it is. I am actually enjoying the experience. You know, all I had to do was click on the play button, fire her up, hit the shortcut for my recording stuff, and off I went, and that was it. Well, I also had to plug in my HOTAS, but you know, and that was it. I mean, I didn't have to load up a bunch of third-party software. I didn't have to restart my computer. I didn't have to change settings. I didn't have to do anything. All I had to do was click the play button and off I went, which is brilliant. Which is really good for me, because honestly, I can get kind of lazy, and sometimes I'll think, you know, I just want to fly here, and then I think about what I've got to go through to get to take off, with all the extra steps I've got to go through and all the extra things I need to do. And it just kind of, you know, I just kind of think, you know what, nah, I won't do that, I'll do something else instead. Oh, there's my shadow again. Hello. Hi there. I need to figure out a zoom button. Like a little button that will do like a ×2 zoom, so I can look at places and zoom in and zoom out. Will come in handy, not just for scenery, but for the cockpit too. Alright, let's see if I can fly this thing from outside for a moment. It's actually pretty difficult to do with the camera wobbling around like this. What I'm going to have to do is just try and hold the stick straight and level, or where it's at. Because straight and level, this thing will pitch left, like it's kind of sort of doing. I love the detail on the aircraft though. That is so nice. And something else I just noticed is when I change view, it's instant. There's no draw-in delay. I used to see in one of the other engines that one of the other simulators that I play. There's usually, you can see it drawing in the scenery. It'll do the water, then the land, then the trees, and then the other things. But in this one, it's very snappy. Well, I think that's it for the minute. I think I'm going to axe this recording here, because I've waffled on about what I wanted to, about the different settings that I've tried, and you know, the fact that I've noticed that the instrument panel renders so beautifully and so easily. If you have any ideas about somewhere to fly, chuck them in the comments. But for the minute, that's it. I will see you anon.